Meghan Markle makes her first comments about the Queen's passing, BravoCon takes over New York City, and Black Adam hits theaters this weekend.
It's all coming up right now on The Take.
Hey everyone, and welcome to The Take. I'm Elizabeth Wagmeister.
And I'm Clayton Davis, and we're here to give you our take on some of the week's biggest stories. We were separated for a week. You have flown back from New York. It's good to be together again.
Yes, it is good to see you. Welcome back from the Middleburg Film Festival. I know you had a great time. I feel like the two of us have been sleeping on planes, which means we have a lot of good content to share. So as you said, I just came back from New York. Let's kick things off with BravoCon. If you don't know what BravoCon is, think of Comic-Con, but for Bravo fans. Essentially, the Bravo cinematic universe. And I'm really not overstating that because 35,000 people came to the Javits Center in New York City for this convention, which brings together more than 140 Bravo celebrities for panels and for a lot of scoop and a lot of fun. I moderated 2 different panels with producers that are behind the Real Housewives franchise. I know that you are a fan, which is one of the most surprising facts about Clayton Davis, in addition to the fact that you love the Backstreet Boys. But that's a story for another day. I digress. Back to the panels. The first panel that I moderated was all about Ultimate Girls Trip, which is the mashup of Housewives. I got some scoop on season 3. It's going to be filming in Thailand. I heard that the drama is just at another level. And then the next panel that I moderated was all about the reunions. We all know the reunions have really become a part of the Housewife world. To me, they're sometimes the most exciting and most dramatic episodes. And we also got the new cast of Real Housewives of New York. Jenna Lyons is part of the cast.
Surprise.
Are you excited about that?
I am. The disappointment of not seeing Kelly Bensimon and Bethany Frankel walk on together, though, cut deep. But that cast looks incredible.
Yes, the new cast looks great. I'm super excited. But also, with Real Housewives of New York, it's one of the most beloved franchises from Bravo. What they're doing is they have this new New York version, but they're also working on a legacy version, which means they'll bring back some of the players. Could it be Kelly Bensimon? Could it be Bethany Frankel? Well, I have learned from sources that it's near fully cast and they are just working on closing these deals. So we will definitely have the official scoop on that soon.
Yes, I'm a big Housewives fan, and to see this new cast, this new iteration happen in New York, which looks a lot like New York based on how the cast looks. And that's been one of the criticisms for years, that it doesn't look like New York based on the women that they had tapped. But I am excited to hear that Luann and Sonia Morgan have a little spinoff happening where they take over the Midwest in a small town, and that can't be anything but amazing.
Chaos.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing chaos. They have explained it as The Simple Life, but starring Luann and Sonia. I can't wait for that. I mean, we are not above Bravo.
Yeah.
That is certain. We love it. But let's move on to maybe some more serious news.
Absolutely. Well, actually, no, we had more fun this week because Variety released its list of the 27 best flops ever released. Now, this isn't based on the box office. They're good movies, but it just didn't make the money they were expected. Big films on this list surprisingly included David Fincher's Fight Club, which has become a cult classic. Also auteurs like Martin Scorsese with Hugo, and some from this year, including Bros, that starred Billy Eichner, that is going to be a flop for Universal. But this has put a big focus now on box office. What does success look like? And movie theaters are struggling. That's out there, it's clear. Streamers, what does that mean to be successful at a streamer? You know, is it just subscriber numbers? Does watching matter? It brings about a lot of those questions. But now we look forward to Black Adam coming out this weekend, $195 million budget. And it's The Rock. You bet on The Rock, it's a good bet, but it's projected to make $60 million. We won't know this until actuals come on Monday, but I feel it might come under that. So it's interesting to see what these studios are going to do moving forward, because they don't have that excess cash to kind of chuck around, you know, to let an auteur make a movie. Now you have to bring the audience with you.
Absolutely. And obviously, viewing habits and models are changing every day. Actually, also New York, I was at Variety's annual New York party, and the co-presidents of Sony Pictures Classic, they gave a speech and they were really championing theaters. One of the executives said something along the lines of, stars are made on the screen, not on the stream, which I kind of loved. But I just think, as you said, quality does not always equate to box office. Obviously, this is a business, which means it runs on money, but it also runs on entertainment and what viewers want. I'm really interested to see how Black Adam does. Obviously, this is supposed to be the first of this character for a much larger universe.
But there's actually more news that came out of this week from the streaming platforms. Netflix announcing they added 2.4 million new subscribers to its ranks. Now, Netflix announcing that they won't release any more projections moving forward with their quarterly assessments as they take on Wall Street and try to make up for their subscriber losses last year. In addition, they're getting ready to roll out their new ad-tiered program in November, which will help add even more subscribers moving forward. Now, Netflix is looking to the future. It's an oversaturated market. We have a lot of streamers trying to make a play and own that space. But as we hear news that Showtime is potentially merging with Paramount Plus and HBO Max is probably going away in the form of Discovery Plus, that merge, and Warner continuing to lay people off, this oversaturated market does now look to be subsiding and getting a common denominator. We may have like 3 or 4 instead of like 7 or 8.
Right, and look, I think we all could say that at one point this bubble was going to burst. You know, streaming came about and then people started cutting the cord. But then what happens when you have 10, 15 different streamers, you're paying more than you were actually paying for cable. So we knew that this day was going to come. Things have to evolve, things have to settle. But with Netflix, obviously positive news for them, adding those 2.4 new million subscribers. But even with their losses that they had before, I understand they nosedive. These are shocking headlines. You know, people were saying a lot of negative things about Netflix, but at the end of the day, if you are in the streaming game, everybody still wants to be Netflix. They are still king. Disney Plus obviously has been doing exceptionally well. Yeah. But then we look at some of these other smaller streamers, you know, something like Peacock, which we were just talking about Real Housewives, Ultimate Girls Trip before. Yeah. You know, there are some series that are known, but none of them are even remotely at the base that Netflix has.
Yeah, Netflix is sitting over 400 million global subscribers. That's a huge number. And when they're looking to add more content, and now they're adding games to their platform, but then now we're gonna have that moment where you can't share your password anymore. What's that gonna look like? They're offering the option to transfer your account. We'll see how many people stay on board. That will be something interesting to watch out for.
Yes, and these are obviously all steps that Netflix is taking to ensure that they stay number one. All of these steps really translate to more money and more dollars for Netflix. But speaking of Netflix, someone that is in business with Netflix is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And this week, Meghan Markle graces the cover of Variety. The profile was written by our friend and colleague Matt Donnelly, and this is the first time that a royal has graced our cover. Now, in the piece, Meghan Markle makes her first comments about the passing of Queen Elizabeth, and she also talks about her future in Hollywood and in the entertainment business. Now, we know that ever since leaving the royal family, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have made a lot of headlines, but they've also made a lot of headlines for their work in the entertainment business. Meghan Markle just launched her podcast, Archetypes, on Spotify. They have their production company, Archwell, and they have a docuseries that is coming with Netflix. Now, in this piece, Meghan Markle, she also shows some of her human side because a lot of people are wondering who is the real Meghan Markle. She talks about how Prince Harry loves In-N-Out. She talks about being a mother and what content her kids consume. And she also talks about acting. She says, I am done with acting. I have no intention to go back. But when our colleague Matt asked, what about someone who's going to play you? Is that weird to be a former actress and know that someone is going to act as you? And she said, well, if and when that day comes, I hope they know that they can call me.
And she also said, please find the joy. And I think that's what was really encapsulated in this piece. She was joyful. It was interesting to watch it unfold before our eyes. It's potentially one of our biggest covers in history. And the discourse online, she is a very divided figure. There are people who love her and revere her. And I'm on that side. I think she is an incredibly smart woman. And then there are people that will just come and they say very racist comments and then blaming her for things that happen in the final days of the Queen's life is just, it's really ugly. But I think she's gonna come out a winner in this in the long run, because I think she has assessed and stated what she wants her legacy to be. And I think she's gonna continue to be an inspiration for young girls all across the world.
Yes, I mean, one thing is certain, she is holding her head up high, and this interview was a fantastic interview. It actually was supposed to be part of our Power of Women package. Meghan was supposed to be one of our honorees, but with the Queen's passing, there is that official moment of mourning for the royal family, so she had to step aside, and then this interview came out later. But we are happy to have her on the cover. For those who haven't read it, Meghan's cover is in Variety right now and on Variety.com, and as always, you can watch us right here on Fridays on The Take.
Thanks for watching.